Palpatine cut his eyes to Plagueis. "The Sith are considered to be evil." "Evil?" Plagueis repeated. "What is that? Moments ago you defined yourself as a storm. You said you were death itself. Are you evil then? Or are you simply stronger and more awake than others? Who gives more shape to sentient history? The good, who adhere to the tried and true? Or those who seek to rouse beings from their stupor and lead them to glory? A storm you are, but a much-needed one, to wash away the old and complacent and prune the galaxy of dead weight."
In the Star Wars universe, the Sith are often labeled as evil. But is this perception accurate? In this dialogue between Darth Plagueis and Palpatine, they question the nature of morality and whether those who challenge traditional norms are truly villains.
"The Sith are considered to be evil."
Palpatine's statement introduces the idea of evil as something subjective, implying that being labeled evil depends on who is judging. By saying "considered to be," he suggests that the Sith are seen as evil by those who follow certain moral beliefs, like the Jedi and the broader galactic society. This connects to the idea of moral relativism, which argues that there are no absolute truths in morality. What is deemed right or wrong often reflects the beliefs of those in power. To the Jedi, the Sith threaten their idea of order, so they classify them as evil. However, this view is based on the Jedi's own values. If different values were in play, the same actions could be interpreted in another way.
"Evil?" Plagueis repeated. "What is that?"
Darth Plagueis responds by questioning the idea of evil itself, suggesting a skeptical approach to morality. By asking, "What is that?" he casts doubt on whether such labels have any universal meaning. This implies that good and evil may not be objective facts, but concepts created by those who want to control others through moral judgment. Darth Plagueis' skepticism about evil encourages us to think about whether moral distinctions, like good and evil, are simply results of cultural influences and power dynamics. In this light, the Sith might view themselves as going beyond the arbitrary divisions set by traditional moral systems. This thinking aligns with moral nihilism, which argues that moral categories are meaningless. Illusions created by society to regulate behavior, rather than reflections of any higher truth.
"You said you were death itself. Are you evil then? Or are you simply stronger and more awake than others?"
Here, Darth Plagueis contrasts standard moral judgments with a more personal view of existence. Existentialist ideas suggest that individuals create their own meaning and values instead of following established moral codes. By linking Palpatine to death as a sign of being stronger and more awake, Darth Plagueis implies that Palpatine has moved beyond traditional morality and found his own purpose. From a realist standpoint, those powerful enough to shape reality define what is considered good or bad. The comparison of being evil to being stronger highlights that moral labels may just be tools used by the weak to control the strong. Those who understand the true nature of existence operate outside such labels, moving beyond conventional morality. What is often called evil could reflect a deeper understanding of reality or a higher level of power. To be stronger and more awake means seeing the world without illusions, rejecting simple ideas of good and evil, and realizing that power and strength shape reality. Darth Plagueis' question prompts us to consider whether morality is relevant for those who achieve a certain level of awareness or power. He suggests that those more attuned to reality are not limited by others' judgments, but create their own values and meanings, independent of societal expectations.
Who gives more shape to sentient history? The good, who adhere to the tried and true, or those who seek to rouse beings from their stupor and lead them to glory?
This part of the dialogue presents the idea that history is driven by two opposing forces: those who follow established norms and those who challenge them. Darth Plagueis argues that real progress and change come not from conformity, but from those who disrupt complacency and push society forward. This idea reflects the view of history as a dialectic process, where progress emerges from conflict and change rather than strict adherence to tradition. According to this view, history is shaped by the struggle between conservative forces that want to maintain order and revolutionary forces that seek change and growth. Darth Plagueis believes that it is the latter who push history forward by rousing beings from their stupor. Revolutionary ideas suggest that true progress often demands upheaval and a willingness to shake people out of complacency. Change, whether through political revolutions or intellectual movements, is vital for societal development. Plagueis sees those who cling to the tried and true as promoting stagnation, while those who dare to awaken others are the ones who achieve new heights of power and glory.
A storm you are, but a much-needed one, to wash away the old and complacent and prune the galaxy of dead weight.
Here, Darth Plagueis uses a powerful metaphor to describe Palpatine as a storm. Storms are usually destructive, but in this context they are needed for cleansing and renewal. Destruction is not inherently negative. It is part of a cycle that leads to progress. This idea fits with a cyclical view of history, where periods of destruction are necessary for renewal and growth. Old systems can become bogged down by inefficiency, corruption, or complacency, making a force of destruction, like a storm, essential to clear away the deadweight. From Darth Plagueis' viewpoint, Palpatine's destructive actions are not seen as evil, but as vital for creating space for something better. This perspective also relates to pragmatic or utilitarian views, which judge actions by their outcomes rather than strict moral rules. By pruning the galaxy of deadweight, Darth Plagueis argues that removing the complacent or weak is justified if it leads to a stronger, more dynamic society. This utilitarian reasoning values the ultimate result, glory, strength, progress, over any immediate suffering or destruction caused along the way. Darth Plagueis urges Palpatine to embrace his strength and reject traditional morals, proposing that true insight comes from looking beyond established norms. This dialogue also emphasizes the importance of challenging existing beliefs. Real progress often arises from individuals willing to disrupt complacency and inspire others to explore new possibilities.